Hey there, it's me, T, and today I just wanted to start doing an overview of this 1979 Jaguar XJ12L that I have. Now, a few years ago, I started doing some things to it, to the engine, to the dashboard, the gas tank. I basically got it running for the most part, except for the brakes. That's a different problem. But anyways, we're going to start going over just what I've done to it a little bit, and I want to kind of walk you guys through as I restore this. This is something I've done for years. I've done Mustangs, I've done El Caminos, I've done all sorts of different cars, kind of restoring them, making them look better, really old, kind of rusty. So hopefully we're going to go through this and we're going to learn this together. So one of the first things I wanted to start off with was one of the best things I have ever done art-wise. I've always loved art, and this is one of them. This is the dashboard of the Jaguar here. And, there's still a few problems to it, but this was real wood, and it was rotting, and it was getting swollen up. You couldn't open that up at all. It's still hard to open now. I'll go over that different time of things I should have done different with this. But it just looks amazing. I mean, it doesn't really look like it's a real wood thing, like a real type of wood. But, for my first time doing something like that, it turned out really good. And that's one thing I'm really proud of about this so far. So here with these pictures, you can see what it looked like before I had taken it out, and you could see that the wood was kind of faded, didn't really have the vibrance that I wanted. So I decided to pull it out. I did a lot of work, and here's a picture of me airbrushing it. Now this was the really fun part, because I could just choose whatever color I wanted, and I cut out a template to that, and I used a piece of aluminum metal and I painted on that. I'll go into better detail about that later on, but this is the basic idea of what I did for the dashboard on this Jaguar. I showed you a few things of me doing it, a few pictures, but you see this is the old wood right here. You can see how it's chipping off. And if you look in here, you can see where it was all rubbing. All of that is because that wood was swollen up. And whenever it would shut, it would just jam in there. You couldn't open it. So I had to pry that open and everything. It still has problems. I need to sand it down a little bit more. This here is catching, and you can kind of even see, it's not perfect exactly, but it's just a start. Okay, so more on the interior here. It's kind of dirty on the ceiling here. There's a few spots that are dirty. The leather, it's really old. There's a tear in the seat for me sitting in it right here. I'm not sure you guys can really see that. There that is. The radio is all taken out. So there is a lot to do on this. The next step that I'm going to do is take this gas tank out right here, and I am going to put acid in it, clean it out, and put a coat on the inside to keep it from rusting and all that stuff. But as you can tell, there's plenty to do, and I'm hoping that we can all work through this. And if you have your own car that you're working on, you can figure out what you need to do for yourself as well. All right, so now we're going to step outside, look at the engine work that I did real quick. So this car, being a 1979 Jaguar, used to have a fuel-injected V12 engine in there. The person who had it before me, they had replaced the transmission, and they had put a Chevy 454 big block in here. Now that engine's gone, and now I have a 350 from an old Chevy Astro that I threw in here. I took it apart, cleaned it up really good, and it runs beautifully. Right now, I don't have the battery hooked up. There's no coolant in it, so I'm not going to start it up right now. But this is what it started to look like. And the first piece of bodywork that I did to it was this hood here. So underneath it here, we got a anti-rust, kind of just a thick coating of some anti-rust paint here. Now on the top here, we just threw a white down because we were thinking about doing it white. And in the years as it's kind of sat here, you can't see it very well, but there was some hail damage to it. I think right there is a little bit. So just a few more things that I wanted to share about this car that I really liked. This 77 Jag has a fuel tank on each side, and there's a button here to select which gas tank you want to use. So for me, I'm not going to set that all up. I'm just going to set it onto one fuel pump just so that I can pull it all out, and it makes things so much easier. The Jaguar company just feels very refined, and for example, this 5.3 V12 engine that it used to have in here supposedly was really smooth, but sadly it blew up, and that's why they tried putting in the 454 into this here. But with the engine being so big, you couldn't put the air filter on that as well. So we had to size down to a 350, and even then we're going to have a hard time putting in that air filter. Now this 1977 XJ12L, which is the long wheelbase, it only sold 1,913 of them. So there's not too many of them around, really. I like being able to get to know my cars very well, knowing exactly what it is, and being able to tear it down and see what everything is about it. Over the years, as I've worked on cars, I've found that every car company has their special little things, and this is about one of the only Jags that I've ever worked on. Even though it's old, I've still learned a lot about the company, and it's really cool being able to build up my confidence in them. Now, I know that they've had a lot of bad reliability issues that many people talk of, but if you really know what you're doing, any car you're going to be able to fix, and it's not going to be that big of a problem. I mean, the biggest problem that this one had was that engine, apparently, and well, I switched that out. Maybe I just have to deal with some electrical problems, but it looks like I'm going to have to deal with a lot of those right now because all of that problem down there. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you for right now. We'll catch you guys when we do the gas tank or whatever else we decide to do next. Thanks very much.